at YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. So you can maybe ask your friends also. They can also join the session. The purpose of this session is to go deep into PMP and cover the quick summary of entire PMP in next 2 to 3 hours. Right? The session will be 2 hours. In 2 hour session, I will try to cover everything that you need to know about PMP. Every single thing we'll try to cover that you need to know about PMP in a quick summary. We'll not go into depth, not go into details, but one thing I can tell you, every single thing that we are gonna cover in this program, if you know that by heart, you will be able to get those things done. You will be able to get PMP done in the minimum possible time. This is as an extension to my mastery series, which I started to cover for you guys to understand how the context work. Okay, so yeah, let's get this thing done. I will request all of you, please turn your videos on, put yourself on mute, so that you don't get disturbed by the noise. So turn your videos on. I like to see you guys, and that gives me more energy. So it will be great if you can turn your videos on, if you can put yourself on mute. Shri, good to see you. One of my student, he's a certified PMP from India. He said I want to join the session as a revision for my PMP. So I said you are more than welcome to join it. Okay, so before, okay, somebody is saying they are unable to hear my voice. Guys, are you able to hear me? Are you able to see me? Put in the chat box. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get this thing started. You can put Toshiba in the chat box and change your name. Put your name, click right click and change your name. Otherwise, whatever the name is, I will be calling you from there. Okay, so yeah. So let's get started. Whatever the questions you may have, I'll take all the questions after the session. Right? I will be there 2 hour. I'll complete the PMP. Whatever you need to know. After that, whatever the questions you may have, I will answer. I have the entire day for me. I am in US, so the day has just started. So the entire day is open for me. So whatever the questions you may have, don't worry, I'll answer it. But first thing, the first goal is to complete the PMP. To the first goal is to go through the entire thing and get covered it. I'm gonna change my mic in a minute, then I'm gonna start properly. Okay. And if you can turn your videos on, it will be great. Okay, so that I can see you. I like seeing you. Okay. So guys, I just changed my mic. If anyone has any problem listening to me, please do let me know so that I can make sure that I I can change it back. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Asim Saab, I'm also making you co-host. If that's fine, please add people as they are joining. Okay. 500 plus people have asked for the registration, but I'm so much optimistic on number of people that will join. Okay, so here we go. The most important thing to understand is what is project. What is project? Project is a temporary endeavor. What do I mean by temporary endeavor? It has a start date and it has an end date. So if something is starting, it will end. At the start of the project, you must have end date. If you don't have the end date, this means you are not working in a project. So these are the boundaries of the project: a start date and end date. That is compulsory for a project. According to PMI, the definition of project is this: it's a temporary endeavor. It's a temporary endeavor to produce some product, services, results. What do I mean by that? When you are starting the project, you must have a goal that you are going to produce some product, services, result. There must be a patent goal. Okay, that is the reason why we are starting the project in the first place. If you don't have a goal, then you cannot start a project. It must be done. And how does the goal is defined? Organizations have strategies. Organization strategies is transferred to portfolio. Portfolio make decisions. These decisions are transformed into program and projects. Program and projects produce some results, and these results values are realized by operation, right? This is the sequence how the entire project management work. This framework, we called it organizational project management framework. Organizations have a strategy, portfolio drive it, right? Portfolio drive it, and we can work into that way. Okay, so that's an important thing, that we worked into the entire thing, organizational strategy to project. So you don't need to know detail of portfolio or program, just understand program is a rela- collection of related projects. Projects A, projects B. Is as projects are temporary, so programs are also temporary. Whereas portfolio is collection of program, sub-portfolio, projects, and operations. Operation is opposite of projects. They are permanent. Since operations are permanent, this makes project as a permanent thing, continuous happen, right? So organization define the organizational strategy that we are going to cover. The You see, every organization has their own strategy, right? Every organization has their own strategy. So we look at what strategy we are going to cover. They defined it. The strategy is mostly to increase the business value. Business value consists of two things: tangible, like money; intangible, that is non money. So projects are driven straightforward to increase your business value. We do projects to increase your business value. That's the purpose of that. Two plans we use for projects to increase the business value: business case, it measure directly money part; benefit to cost, intangible, like brand, it is measured by benefit management plan. So these two things, tangible uh, business case and intangible benefit management plan, both use to identify the value, to measure it, and to look into that. Both plans are important, both plans are needed. Sponsor make both plan. Okay, sponsor make both of these plan: benefit management plan and business case. Some people are putting, they are unable to hear. Guys, if 100 plus people can hear and you are not able to hear, then with all due respect, leave session and join again. Your mic may have some challenge in it. Okay, so now a very important thing, the project move in this direction. You have a need assessment, you do business documents, and then the project starts: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closing. Now, these activities, I call them as pre-project activity. These are project activities and then operations activity. The entire thing is called as product life cycle. This part is called project life cycle. Two business documents that we produce are business case and benefit management plan. Both of these documents are important. Both of these documents are critical to make in the project. Business case, benefit management plan, these are the pre-project activities, means things that happen before the project, right? Things that happen before the project. Okay, then initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closing. This is the entire thing where the project happen. The document, the document that actually start the project is called project charter. This is a high level document. It has all the information about scope, schedule, cost, high level quality, high level risk, key stakeholders, things of those nature. Who makes project charter? Put in the chat box. Who make project charter? Who make project charter? Project charter is made by sponsor. These three documents, business case, benefit management plan, pre-project and project charter, all three are made by sponsor. They cannot be updated. I'll repeat, they cannot be updated in the project. They are fixed document. They cannot be updated. Once you have a project charter at your hand, now you have a authority to start the work. Now you have a authority to start the work. The first thing you will do, you will make assumption log that will have list of assumptions that we are going to make. Some author called it assumption constraint log. Some author called it assumption log. So both terms are right. I have no issue in both terms. Both terms can be used. Assumption log, assumption and constraint log. It's a list of assumptions that you make at the start of the project. A very important thing once you are a project. Somebody muted me. Guys, don't mute me. Uh, some a very important thing. Once we make the project, you check the project. You identify who the key stakeholders are. You have a meeting with them, and then you start the process that is called making the stakeholder register. You identify stakeholder. There's a proper steps to identify stakeholder, and this is a very critical thing. You identify stakeholder. Put in the chat box what are the steps that we use to identify the stakeholder. Put in the chat box to put the steps. What are the steps that we use to identify the stakeholders? Please put in the chat box. I'll wait for 10 seconds. What are the steps that we use to identify the stakeholder? Put in the chat box. Those people who are watching at YouTube or LinkedIn, I would recommend come to Zoom. Okay. So if we look at the steps, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Kapil. Thank you, everyone. Siva Prasad. Okay. We step number one, we go to sponsor. We ask the sponsor who the key stakeholders are. We use technique of focus group, that is asking the key stakeholders who else the stakeholders can be. We can use workshops to identify who the key stakeholders are. We can look at OPS, organizational process assets, policies, procedures, tools and template, past lesson learned. We can look at EEF. EEF, I like to use the acronym of PASTEL. Political, economical, social, technical, legal, environmental, who those stakeholders are. You identify those stakeholders. Now, the most important thing is to identify the stakeholders. Once you have identified all the stakeholders, and it's a continuous process, it happens throughout the project. You identify the stakeholder, you categorize them. Categorize them. Upward stakeholders, downward stakeholder. Upward mean who you are going to report, downward who is reporting to you, sideward stakeholder, and of course internal external stakeholder. So we have categorized the stakeholders into this way. Then a very important tool we use, we analyze them and prioritize them. One of the key tool that we use for this process is power interest graph. We'll see who has high power, high interest, low power, low interest, high power, low interest, low power, high interest. Those people who have high power, high interest, we will manage them closely. We'll manage them closely, keep them near to our heart. Those people who have high power, but they are not much interested, will keep them satisfied. Those people who have no power, but they are highly interested, will keep them informed. For those people who have no power, no interest, we'll just put them into watch list to review them after some time, right? We want to make sure we review them after certain time so that they are on track. Okay, so this power interest matrix is one of the most important tool that you will be using to understand where does your stakeholder actually lie. Okay, so you have used the power interest matrix. You can also use stakeholder cube, that is power interest and the third domain, right? Third domain can be anything. It's a 3D model, stakeholder cube, or you can use salience model, power, urgency, and legitimacy. A PMP exam is more focused on 2D models, not on 3D model. Program management exams and other things, they are more focused on these 3D models. So 2D model is more than enough. If you understand this, this will be more than enough for a PMP exam. And this is very important, where each stakeholder lies, what those stakeholders are saying, how those stakeholders can imply things of those nature are critical for your PMP exam. So now we discussed it here that the project is need, this is pre-project, this is project activity. Three things happens in initiation: project charter, assumption log, and we have made the stakeholder register. That's it. Nothing else happen in initiation. Nothing else. Now we will go to the planning. Project management plan is made in here. It has 18 plans in it that we need to do. Whatever the question, guys, you have, Shurjil, I see you have some questions. We'll answer your question at the end of the sessions, right? First, I want to complete the entire PMP. This is a quick session. I want to summarize the entire PMP in next 2 hours. So we will cover into that. Okay. So now we'll make whatever your question is, put in the chat box, and those students who knows the answer, they can reply them there. So project charter, assumption log, stakeholder register, that is made in initiation. In we'll make project management plan. The first plan in planning, I will be making stakeholder engagement plan. Stakeholder engagement plan is all about the strategies that you required to engage the stakeholder. What are the strategies I'm going to use to engage the stakeholder? That is the key of the stakeholder engagement plan. Okay, the tool that is a part of the stakeholder engagement plan I'm gonna use, I'm gonna look what is the current stage of my stakeholder. Is he unaware? Is he resistant? Is he neutral? Is he sportive? Or is he leading? Where does, what is the current engagement level of my stakeholder? It's an important tool. Pay special attention. Currently, where does my stakeholder fall? What is his current engagement level? If he does not know me, I need to do something. I need to do something to make sure that he's engaged. If he's resistant, I need to do something. So this tool that is a part of the stakeholder plan, it will have all the important stakeholders with their current engagement and our desired engagement, and how we want to, this is D, sorry, current engagement, and what do we desire, what do the project desire currently. We'll put it there, and all the strategies that are required to the change the current into the desired engagement, that will become the part of stakeholder engagement plan. One more time, stakeholder engagement plan has list of strategies that will change, that will change current engagement into our desired engagement. That's it, nothing more. So once your stakeholder plan is made, okay, we'll send it to sponsor. or change control board. The change control board will approve your stakeholder engagement plan, and that's it. Once the stakeholder plan is done, is approved, you cannot add anything to it, right? Initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, and closing. Here, the stakeholder engagement plan is made, it's approved. In execution, you will implement that plan. There is no thinking about is the stakeholder right or not. Whatever the strategies you have agreed, whatever the strategies you have agreed here, you are going to implement those strategies here. That's it. Straightforward. We are going to implement those strategies in execution. In monitoring and control, the purpose of monitoring and control is very straightforward. We will do variance analysis. What do I mean by variance analysis? I'm gonna see plan, is my plan working or not working? Plan versus actual. Where does I fall? And if plan needs to be updated, I will raise change request. That change request will help to improve my plan. That change request will help to update my plan. This change request will update my plan. That is everything you need to know about the stakeholder topic. I'll repeat one more time for everybody: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, and closing. These are the five process group. In initiation, once the charter was made, you start identifying stakeholder. Once you identify the stakeholder, you analyze them using upward, downward, sideward. Then you prioritize them using power interest matrix. Once you prioritize them, here you make stakeholder engagement plan, which has a tool stakeholder engagement matrix. We check the current engagement and desired engagement. You look out the engagement level of all the stakeholder. You make the strategies how we are going to engage all these stakeholders there. Then you implement those strategies here. In monitoring and control, if we need to change any stakeholder engagement strategy, we basically change those strategies and worked into it by raising change request, and we do variance analysis. Nothing in the closing domain happen for the stakeholder topic. That's all you need to know about the stakeholder topic. In this way, I'll go through each domain. Now I'll go to communication, then I'll go for team. Okay, then we will go through risk, quality, procurement. I'll see, we'll also cover agile in between. Okay, so what do you say? First, shall I cover all the predictive method and then agile, or do you want me to, after I cover team topic, I go for agile? Put in the chat box. Now you have a chance to answer. Interpret. Put in the chat box, please. Okay, so put in the chat box, what do you think is the right answer here? Okay, actually, what is your choice? Mhm. Yeah, traditional after agile, agile as predictive. Hmm. Okay, so majority people said that we first cover predictive. Okay, so we'll do that. Then at the end of the day, but that will have one disadvantage. At the end of the session, you will be tired. I'm not gonna tired. I I will be more energetic, right? As I get interaction from you, I love this thing what I do, right? So you will be tired, but okay. Think about it. After team topic, I will ask again. If you change your answer, I will do that. Which has more question? 50% exam is predictive, 50% is agile. Kumar, that's not a right thing to say hybrid, because it is everything. Na? Hybrid is everything. Okay. So we are how many people right now? 132. Guys, do message in the groups that the class has started. Uh, Asim Saab, Obed, Farhit, maybe so other people can join. Okay, first let me complete these topics, then I'll come back to agile. We'll see later on. So communication. Communication is one of the most important thing, the job of the project manager. He needs to understand the communication requirements of the stakeholders. What does they need? How do we communicate with them? He need to understand uh, the level of information, the language we are going to use, the confidentiality of this information. So I like to say the communication is 4R: right information, right information at right time to right people to have right impact. Right? 4R of communication: right information at right time to right people to have right impact. Guys, don't type on the key on it. Anyone can type it. I haven't removed the access. Otherwise, I would mute you, everyone, and I will be forced to do that. Please don't write it. So, what does that mean? What information do you need? What information you need? When do you need that information? Okay. Why do you need that information? How that information will be communicated? Where you want to store that information? What is the frequency of that information? All these things are answered in your communication management plan. What I would say, communication management plan is all about, is your communication effective or not? Somebody is unmute, please. I request you to mute yourself. And uh, co-host, please see who is doing it and mute them. We want to share that our communication is effective or not. How much effective that is. How do I know my communication is effective? When the other person understand it. We called active listening as a way to understand that other people is understanding the information. Active listening can be paraphrasing, I understanding, repeating the last line, understanding their way, understanding the body language. There can be many ways. But the purpose of communication is to understand that people are knowing what you are trying to say. So communication model is something like that. A sender send the information and receive the information. Then the receiver give feedback and the communication loop is completed. Okay. Anything that disrupt the information. It can be anything. Like maybe your internet is not good and you are unable to hear me. Maybe I'm speaking too fast, you are unable to understand. Maybe I'm speaking too many jargons, you are unable to understand. Whatever the way is, anything as a result of which you are unable to understand me, that is noise. That is called noise. PMI use some jargons here, that a person who send the information, he encode the information, a receiver decode it, mean he try to understand it and send it back into your language. So that's how the entire information basically flow. You encode the information, you decode it, and we work into this way. This is a communication loop. Your communication can be written, formal, informal, verbal. Now it can be audio, video. It, your communication management plan will define how you have to communicate. What are the ways that are most effective for your own project? How we can add the real value, how the organization can understand, okay, this is the information they need to understand in this way. So we will look into that way. How the real information is needed, written, verbal, audio. Of course, your information can be push. You can pushing the communication. Push means anything that you did not want and it is being bombarded on you. Like you got a call, you got an email. It's a push communication. Ads on YouTube, it's a push communication. Pull is basically when you want it yourself, you do go and make some kind of effort. That's a pull communication. That's a pull communication. Interactive consists of both form of communication. Like we are interacting with the people in the projects. What do you think, which form of the communication is used, push, pull, or interactive? Which communication is used? Put in the chat box. All. No, it's all form of information is used, Asim Saab. Push, pull, all the form of information. Announcement is uh, push information. Okay, all form of communication is used. Okay, so we identify the requirement. We look into that. We understand the political awareness. Like where does the power actually ride? We need to know the cultural awareness. How does the culture says? And a very important thing, is your team virtual or is your team physical? When we are trying to identify their communication requirement, we need to understand, are we physical or are we virtual? And depending upon the physical or the virtual, we will communicate accordingly. You see, virtual, like right now, we are virtual team. So it has its benefit. If I wanted to conduct this session physical in New York, right, USA, not every one of you can come. It will be a lot. Even if I conduct in Dubai, not everyone can come. Why don't you put in the chat box, where are you right now? In which city? In which country are you right now? Let's see. In which country are you right now? Put in the chat box. Qatar, UK, Lahore, India, UAE, India, Pakistan, Saudi, Oman, US, India, Pune, India, UAE, Oman, Saudi, Belgium. Okay, Belgium. Where else? Saudi, Azerbaijan. Okay, Ilshad. Okay, Kuwait. So like let's say 20, 30 countries are there. So virtual give us the benefit from all over the world. You can join a session. It is cost effective. It is like only 2, 3 hours we come, we learn, we go. We can get the recording of the sessions. Right? All those things are available. So that is the benefit of virtual. But then there's a disadvantage. I cannot see all of your faces. I ask you to turn the videos on. I cannot see your faces. If I'm drinking tea, later on I'll have a coffee. You cannot have coffee with me. We cannot feel that those things together. So that becomes a challenge in the virtual session. In physical is considered as a very co-located people. When you come to the same location, the communication become easy, but then there are problem, culture, religious things like that, right? So all type of challenges need to be looked on. So your communication management plan need to address which type of information you have, what are their challenges, how you are going to overcome those challenges. It must address those things. Okay, it must address those things. Once your communication management plan is made, who will approve it? Same person who made the stakeholder plan approved. Sponsor change control board will approve your communication plan. Okay, so now you will implement the communication plan: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, closing. There is nothing in communication. In initiation, in planning, you will make a communication management plan. In execution, you will implement it. Monitoring and control, again we will see, is our communication plan effective or not. If it's not effective, we'll do change request and change the plan. In closing, there is nothing there. A very important thing, this execution process, manage communication, it's considered as the post office of the project. What do I mean by the post office? All the communication in the project is done through managed communication. All the communication in the project is done to the managed communication process. Uh, we get work performance data, which is a low level information. It is it's like deliverables are what work is being done. Low level information. Okay, level zero. It goes to all department, scope, schedule, cost, quality. Every department with their plan make work performance information their own. I'll explain this in another way also. Just be with me. All the work performance information goes to project manager. He combines them and make a work performance report, a comprehensive report that later will be shared to all the people according to communication plan. So consider it for work performance data. So COVID is, like, let's say you are in US, there are 50 states, 52 states. How many people have suffered from COVID? That is data. You compare it with yesterday and make your own state report. Okay, these many people are sick in our region. That is work performance information. Then that is work performance information. Then you combine the entire report and share it on the health organization. That is work performance report. So work performance report have all the information that is needed for the projects, and that is communicated to everybody. And that is shared in the managed communication process. That is shared in the managed communication process. We shared with the managed communication process so that people can understand, they can look into that, how we can get those things. So this is all about communication. We have covered stakeholder as of now. We have covered communication. Now we are going to cover team. These three topics: stakeholder, communication, team. This is 42% of your exam. Plus agile part is there, 42% of your real exam. Okay, 42% of your real exam. So let's go to the team. For team, we have a resource management plan. And when we talk about resource, there are four type of resources: manpower, machinery, money, and material. We are going to talk only manpower. Okay, only manpower. Your resource management plan is going to tell you how you are going to acquire the resources, how you are going to develop the resources, how you are going to manage the resources, acquire, develop, manage, how you are going to control the resources, and that is release. So that is the every single thing that we are going to cover in next 10 to 15 minutes about the resource management plan. How you are going to acquire the resources. Let's dive deep into that, how you are going to acquire the resources. First thing, when we are talking about human resources, when we are talking about team members, we need to know what skills are needed for the project, right? First thing first, we need to know what skills are needed. If we don't even know what skills are needed, how I'm going to hire somebody? It makes sense or not? I need to know what skills are needed. Then once I know that okay, these are the skills that I need for the project, once I have those skills, then I can move forward, and then I can work into other domains and look into that. So first I identify what skills are needed. Okay. And then of course skills levels are needed. If I need a driver, do I need a truck driver, or do I need a car driver, or do I need a trailer driver or a crane driver? What skills are needed? If you need a developer, which language you need, what experts you need. You identify the skills level of the project. Once this is done, then you start hiring. Now again, we need to consider, we want to get virtual resources or physical resources. Nowadays, combination of both, hybrid resources are also used. How many of you go all the days to work? Of course, I'm not asking civil engineers. Those poor guy go daily to the work. Everyone else, how many days you go to your work, and how many days you do for work from home? Put in the site. Okay, daily. Okay, engineers need to go daily. 3 days on site, twice a week. 3 days inside, work from home. You see, the combination is there. So hybrid structure can also work. By the way, I'm a strong favor that you should go daily to work. Right? At you should go at your site. You learn different thing, right? But it depends from person to person. That's one man opinion. Okay, so we do hybrid. Whatever the skills are needed, again, the same thing we discuss in communication. We can consider cost, we can consider effectiveness, we can consider multiple other factors to identify okay, what is the best practice we have here, and what do we want to do that. So we can identify and looked into that, and we can actually know that. Once you have done that, once you identify the skills you needed, we can use SWOT analysis, identify the skills even when we are interviewing the team member. strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threat, what things are needed. We can put into that. Other tools are also included, but SWOT is one thing we use. Then we'll make resource calendar, and it will be continuously updated. It's a document, it can continuously update. Resource calendar, as the name indicate, it's calendar when resources will be available. It talks about dates, right? When those resources will be available. It talks about dates of the resources. Okay, these will be available at these dates, etc., etc. So when those resources will be available, we will have that. Then we can use RACI chart. RACI stands for responsible. Guys, put in the chat box: responsible, accountable, consult, inform. So it will show if this is a task, who is responsible, who is accountable to do that, whom to consult, whom to inform. Somebody can be responsible for doing that. It's his job to complete it. But somebody else is accountable to and consult. Maybe you have to ask somebody, inform. So RACI chart will make, and we also have a subset of RACI that instead of going into depth of that, we just want to know who is responsible. So we'll so okay, RAM, responsibility assignment matrix. This guy or this girl is responsible to handle this thing. So that's a RAM for you. Responsibility assignment matrix. RAM will make. So we have discussed so far resource management plan. We have discussed resource calendar, RAM, how these documents helpful. Now let's say the team is coming. So I'm going to explain this using Tuckman ladder. Here dates. Today is 14, 12, 13, 14, 15, etc. Here you have productivity. Okay. On x-axis you have productivity. Okay. So RAM only have who is responsible for the task, nothing else. And again, one more time, guys, whatever the questions you have, put it put down all the questions on your chat on your notepad. Once the session is done, I will be there to answer all your questions. Okay, so the first step when the team comes is forming stage. Now the team is coming here. The team has the team is not clear what to do, what the goals of the project is. Project manager here need to act directive in nature. You need to direct them, give them direction. Okay, more of an autocratic nature. Here, project manager needs to make team charter. Team charter can also be called as a working agreement, social contract, different name PMI use for it. The purpose of the team charter is to identify what are the ground rules that they are going to follow, the basic rules and regulations. For example, I set the ground rules when we started the session that please mute yourself and turn your videos on. Then we set that ground rules that try to interact. We said that respect each everyone. These are the ground rules. It also define what is the vision for the project, what values we are going to have. If we want to take decision, how we are going to make decision. For example, I ask you one method. Okay, so shall I go with agile or not? How we are going to make decision? So that is written in the team charter. If a conflict happen, how the conflict is going to handle. Initially, project manager make the team charter, but as we progress, as the team gets better and better, then the team should make the team charter because it's a team charter. It is continuously updated. So now initially it was forming stage. Now team starts to say, okay, I know better. Every team member say, I know better things how to do. So we get into a storming phase. It was forming, now it's storming. We will do coaching here. Here we will do coaching of team members, right? You see, now the conflict happens among the team members. I need to use the skills of active listening, which we just discussed. Listen to the people, what the people are saying. Try to understand the context, what things they are thinking. Try to understand them. Active listening. Plus, we need to use emotional intelligence, EQ. Now, emotional intelligence consists of five things. Put in the chat box. What are those five things that we consider in the emotional intelligence? There are five things in the emotional intelligence that we cover. What are those five things that we covered in the emotional intelligence? Put in the chat box. What are the five things we want to know in motion? Self awareness, self management, social skills, empathy, motivation. Yeah. So, five things that we need to look into that. The first one is self awareness. When we talk about emotional intelligence, first thing is know yourself, self awareness. Like, understand yourself. What do you want? Self awareness will be there. Second, self management. Once you know yourself, now manage yourself. Na? A very critical thing. Like, manage yourself. How do you think about it? What are the way, etc., etc. Self awareness, self management. Very important. Third skill is social skills. All the communication, influencing, decision things, they are covered under the social skills. The fourth one is empathy. Most of the time when we talk about emotional intelligence, people consider emotional intelligence as empathy. No, 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 no. Empathy is just one part of it. Self awareness, first know yourself, manage yourself, social skills. The fifth one is motivation. Now, this is a very critical thing. I will expand on it. I want to understand what motivate other people. What are the things that motivate them? What are the things that does not motivate them? There are multiple motivational theories that we need to look into that. What motivates somebody or not. Now, if you know what motivates other person, you will be able to manage their emotion. You will be able to correspond in a better way. So, motivation. The first theory is Maslow hierarchy of need. Abraham Maslow said that unless your lower needs are not satisfied, we will not move towards the higher needs. Lower needs, food, water, shelter. Unless these needs are not satisfied, I will not go for self awareness. I will not go for other great things, right? So once my basic needs are fulfilled, then I will move toward the next thing. For example, no matter how good I am teaching, how motivated you are to learn, but if you haven't eaten food for 2 to 3 days, you are not going to listen me. If you haven't had the food for last 5 years, yeah, you are not going to listen to it. You first need food, water, shelter, then you will move towards the next thing, right? So Herzberg used the Maslow theory, and he basically said, okay, that is important, but I want to simplify that. He called that Herzberg's theory has two factors. One is hygiene agent, other is motivating agent. He said that few things need to be present. If they are not present, you get demotivated. But no matter how much more you provide that, you will not get motivated. For example, food, hygiene agent, temperature, hygiene agent, cloth, internet maybe for you, salary. Like these things, there's a percentage that is must to have. If those things are not minimum present, na, I'll become demotivated. But no matter how much I increase it, you will not get motivated. I know. When I say the salary is a hygiene agent, many people disagree. But the reason is we never reach that minimum factor, right? We never reach that minimum factor. Whatever the minimum salary is a good salary in your country, right? Once you reach that, it does not matter. So it says that the things that motivate us is opportunity. The things that motivates are growth. The things that motivates are helping other. All these things basically motivate us. These are the motivating agent. That's what Herzberg said. Then Macklin gave his theory. He said people are either motivated by power, achievement, or affiliation. Some people are motivated by power, some people are motivated by achievement, some people are affiliation, or a combination of it. For example, I am more motivated by affiliation. How many people knows me? I'm motivated by achievement. For example, Vinu cleared PMP today from UAE. I will put a success story. That's my achievement. I'm happy to work with him, coach him, guide him. Right? So I put it, I have these many PMPs. We are reaching 194, whatever number is. So we are reaching there. That's achievement for me. I don't care about power. I don't. I never had. What motivates you? Put in the chat box. That's Mackland theory. Then we have McGregor theory X and Y. Theory X says that you need to continuously monitor people, otherwise they will not work. Continuously monitor people. Okay? Otherwise they will not work. Theory Y says that give them a good environment and trust them, they will work. That's theory Y. So both theory are important. Depending upon it, you need to see what works for your organization. Then we have halo effect. Halo effect is a very interesting thing. If we consider somebody is good at one thing, we will assume that he's also good at other things. That is why we give votes to athlete, or we buy things because an athlete is wearing them, right? So that's kind of a halo effect. So influencers, that we are living in an influencer market. People are using influencers to sell everything. That's a halo effect. We are basically that is considered as a halo effect. Then we have expectancy theory. Expectancy theory says that if you expect that this will add value in my life, you will work for it. If you expect that this thing will not add value in your life, you will not work for it. Expectancy theory. So, expectancy theory, basically, all the religions are based on it. You are sitting here with me on Sunday and trying to learn from it. You are following the expectancy theory. You believe that PMP will help you and this session will give you some value. That's why 130 people here, 40 people on LinkedIn. People on LinkedIn, why don't you come to Zoom? So we can discuss those things. You believe that, right? So all in social media, 300 plus people are watching on, yeah, on Instagram alone. So why they are listening? They expect that, right? Expectancy theory is there. So now the purpose of these motivational theories is to understand what motivates each other so that we can better handle the conflict that is among team members. So when you identify the conflict, it's important to know the stages of conflict, at which level the conflict is. This can be called as stages of the conflict or level of conflict. First level, and if you can put the 5 level of conflict in the chat box, is problem to be solved. Let's say team is discussing or argue how to solve the problem. That is level 1 of conflict. I don't want to I don't want to get involved at this level. Let the team work. Let the team handle this conflict level among themselves. I don't want to get jump into that level. Let them do their things. That is level 1 of the conflict. Level 2, now instead of problem, they start having conflict with each other. This is disagreement. This is disagreement, level 2. Okay. Now I'm having a disagreement among the team members. Level 2 of conflict. Contest. Here, I don't care about the problem. Here, I say that I need to win, you need to lose. Win, lose. We got it there. Level 4 of conflict is crusade, also known as fight or flight. Here, we get a group thinking. Here, it was individual thinking. Here we get group thinking. You people have always done this thing. You people have always done this thing. The fifth one is world war. This is also called as not retackable solution. The solution has gone out of our way. We cannot handle this solution anymore. World war. If you are at level 5 conflict, just separate the team member. Let it cool down. Not all conflict can be handled. Separate them, let it cool down. It's kind of a situation where people are getting physical. Here, use diplomacy to break down the group thinking. The group thinking is very dangerous for the team. We don't want it. Here, we set the vision why we even started here. Here, we want to tell them It's not about you, it's about the problem. So let's solve them. So once we have de-escalated the issue, so this is the way we need to look into that. We will discuss some conflict management strategies. The thing is that you identify the conflict, you see level of the conflict, you choose which technique you are going to use. If it works, good. If it does not work, change the technique, use some other techniques. There are multiple techniques at your hand that you can do to handle these conflicts. Now, care for others. As a project manager, if I care for others, care for myself. If I care for others as well as I care for myself, I will go for a win-win situation. If I don't care for anybody, I will go for a lose-lose situation. If I care more for other and less for me, I'm willing to give up. But if I care more for myself, less for other, I will go for this. Here we have accommodate. Oh, sorry. Here we have when we want to win-win problem solving, we want to solve the problem solving, we can collaborate, even confront. Here in this region, we are basically sitting and trying to identify the best possible solution that is best for both parties, not just for one parties, that is best for both parties, that we are trying to get a win-win situation for every single person. Here I don't care about anyone, I'm just gonna avoid the conflict or withdraw. Very important thing, I'm not even discussing the conflict, maybe just passively documenting the conflict, nothing more. Not discussing the conflict, just documenting the conflict, right? That's a avoid or withdraw. Here I accommodate them. Okay, I'm willing to go for it. We especially do for when we care a lot for the other people, we accommodate them. Or sometime we are busy at something else, we'll say let's smooth this thing, let's discuss this issue to a better time, to later on. Here I'm gonna say my way or highway, force or direct. We also have a in between technique, compromise. Compromise is more of a lose lose situation in which both parties have to give up something. It's more of a lose lose situation. Okay, but it's better than avoid and withdraw. As a project manager, as a project manager, you need to basically move from here. Okay, how I can, yeah, I don't want it. As a project manager, you need to basically move from compromise and get it done in the proper way. Okay, sorry for that. Here, avoid, withdraw, and move from here. Right? Get the best situation. Whatever the techniques you use, it all comes down to, are you able to solve the conflict or not? If you are able to solve the conflict, you move to the next stage, and that is norming. In the norming stage, now we understand the habits of each other, why they do that, and team is starting to look like a team, not well solution. So here he need to support them, mentor them, listen to them, understand them. Okay, and finally, if everything goes according to the plan, we reach the performing stage. We reach the performing stage. Here, what are you doing, man? Here, this is delegation. Here you will delegate it. Forming, storming, norming, performing. And finally, when the team is done, we leave the team. So this is what you need to know about the entire team topic, right? Important thing that you need to understand when you are solving PMP question, that very critical part is you need to act like a servant leader. Servant leader is somebody who's like a mother or father. Servant leader is somebody who listen to other. Servant leader is somebody who will understand how the things are working. Why don't you define what servant leader is? Put in the chat box, what do you think, who servant leader is. Put in the chat box. Okay. I launched a poll. So whatever you decide, we will do that. You have a 1 minute to decide. The poll is open. You want to do predictive or agile. Whatever the poll result is say. As a servant leader, my job is to basically help facilitate the people understand this thing. So if you say agile, then this means after this I'm gonna go agile. If you say predictive, I'll go risk, quality, procurement, scope, schedule, cost, and then come back to agile. Last 25 seconds available on back as a shared. Okay. Join Zoom, brother. Last 3 seconds. If you have not voted, please vote. Okay. So the results are in front of you. So we'll go with the agile since majority of the people have said it agile, 61 to 39. So we'll go for agile. So far we have covered stakeholder communication, uh, team. One of the most important thing to understand that exam, 80% of exam consists of 4 topics: stakeholder communication, team, and agile. We'll cover the agile, but we'll take 5 minutes break. In the 5 minutes, for the 5 minutes break, we'll cover every single thing that you need to understand. Uh, After 5 minutes break, we'll go to the agile. I'll try to cover every single thing that you need to know about PMP, right? It's not just few things, but we'll cover every single thing that you need to know about agile. And let me put it this way: if you can cover stakeholder communication, team, agile, there's a high probability that you can clear PMP exam with a high score. Work into it, get into the best details, but this is something that I'm really interested in. But before we go to 5 minute break, I just want to invite you and ask all of you that my batch program is going to start on this Friday. The batch program is going to start on this Friday. If any of you want to join the program and want to become certified PMP, I'm gonna put the link in the chat box. You can join here. And I'm also for those people who wants to join it on they are watching on LinkedIn everywhere else. I'm also gonna put link there. So just to give you the context, today we are going to the entire summary in the batch program in 6 days class. All this topic we are going to go deep. Every single topic we will work into that. Where can we know about your PGMP program? Kumar, if you don't have my number, this is my number. Okay, we can talk about it later on. PGMP program also starts actually this Friday. So if you want to join, we can have a discussion. So in the 6 days program for the batch, we will have 6 classes, right? We will have classes on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 19th April. We'll start our class at say at 7 p.m. UA time. We'll start our class and it will be till 1 a.m. We will go through every single topic in depth. I'll share how to solve question answers in that. In addition to that, I will help you in filling the application. We will do mocks and I'll give you my simulator, which I'll show you later on. Well, I don't write on it, which I'll show you a simulator that can help you to understand how to solve question answers. Every single thing that you need from step one till the last step, I will provide you in my program. In 6 days, I will give you everything. Plus, after 6 days, we will have a PMP marathon. But the most important thing actually happen after 6 days. Once the entire training is completed, you have the entire training. The real thing comes after the training. You see why I have such a massive success record, 99.2% with 1500 plus PMP in last 3.5 years is my coaching system. What do I do for every single student? Right now, in this session, 100 plus students are my student. I can tell every single student where he's standing, where Farid is standing, where Sayyid Khalid is standing, where Faizan is standing, where Mithan is standing, where Akib is standing. Why? We do coaching calls. We do 4 coaching calls every week. And this week, I have decided, since I have a batch Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, two on Monday, and one coaching call every single day we are going to have, because I want to focus and get them PMP in minimum possible time. This is the thing that why we get them certified so quickly. And I personally do follow up with every single student. What are you having? Is there any challenge? How I want to customize according to your requirement. I customize the program for you. I make sure you stay on the right track. I make sure that you are on the light rent and you can become every single thing. And my program has fixed fees. Okay. My program has fixed fee, and that is $699 for the program. Students cannot do PMP. In order to do PMP, you need 3 years experience. Please make sure that you fulfill the PMI criteria. Graduation plus 3 years experience. PMP is not for students. Graduation plus 3 years experience. You get every single thing in the program that is customized specially according to your requirement. And we are going to have this program on this Friday. I'm already working with those students who have already joined. I guess we have 15 or 20 students who have enrolled in the program, and bunch of them will join as we move forward. So I want this opportunity for you that you join the program. My program fee is fixed, but I can surely give you installment. One thing before we go to break, I just want to say that once you join my program, I'll make sure one thing. You can become PMP in 4 weeks, 6 weeks if you give 4 hours. But no matter how long it will take, I will be there with you, walking you, guiding you till you become PMP. And you can ask any of my students how I do follow up, how I work with them, how I coach them. So I already shared the link with you. You can click the link and join. And let's have a 5 minute break. See you after 5 minutes. These are all the major things we provide. Like, if I put it here, thousands of things I can give it to you that we do, but these are some of the things I just want to share. 5 minute break. Have your cup of tea, coffee, because then we will have a long, like, agile other sessions are there. So have a cup of tea. 5 minute timer. Okay, guys, we are back. Please message everybody else that the class has started. Okay. Mhm. Yes, please message everyone that the class has started, that they can join. Okay, so now we are going to discuss agile. One of the important thing I want to share about the agile is that whenever we discuss agile, we need to understand every single thing we cover in the agile. Now, it goes multiple things, but the most important thing is four values of agile and 12 principles of agile, right? Uh, tw- uh, 12 principle of agile. But while we are discussing, I want to share one thing with every one of you. Asam, I can see you from batch 2. Who else is here from batch 2? Batch 2, batch 3. I want to share you something. Your batchmate just cleared the exam. Lindsay is certified PMP. Lindsay is certified PMP. So congratulations. Now everybody knows in less than 1 month. Asam sir, I hope this motivates you. Now study more. Ubaid, guys, your batchmate did it in less than a month. Today, two PMPs. One Vinu, my one-to-one student, and Lindsay, she cleared. She cleared from Canada, so less than 4 weeks, right? So all those people who have says excuse and things like that, I can I can tell her story in detail, but I will record her journey later on, and you will get it. So this can be your time, okay? Your batchmate, if Asim sir, your batchmate is clearing, You should also, sir. Okay. Okay. So let's get back to the agile. We'll get back to the agile. So when we talk about agile, we need to understand agile consists of two things. Actually, let's discuss all four life cycles. All four life cycle are classified on two things. One, is your scope fixed or is your scope variable? Is your is your delivery single go or is your delivery multiple go? How we are going to have the delivery for the project. Okay. So if I divide it into this, when you have a fixed scope and you want single delivery, that is predictive project. That is a predictive project. Example, bridge. I don't want bridge into parts. I want the entire bridge in one go. Right? If you want to have a fixed scope, but delivery can be multiples, we have an incremental delivery for it. Incremental delivery for it. And we have an example for the incremental delivery. We have an example of movie series, e-series, movies, training sessions, all e-learnings. All these are examples of incremental delivery. Right? We have incremental delivery. When your scope can change, but we want delivery in one go, this is iterative life cycle. Prototypes are made in that way. Prototypes are made in that way, iterative life cycle. When anything can change, when your scope can change, and you want delivery in parts, we use agile life cycles. We use agile life cycle. Example is software. So yesterday I bought two new iPhones because I have to call it like small one. I already had the 15 Pro Max. I opened the iPhone, and as soon as I opened the iPhone, it immediately said to me, uh, it immediately said to me, please update the system. So it's continuously being updated. And I'm sure the same thing happened to your phone or whatever you do. So agile is incremental delivery as well as things can change. But this is not the end of story. We are also have the combination of agile and predictive. That is called a hybrid. And all the projects in the world, in one way or another, they are basically hybrid in nature. We make the hybrid project. We looked into that, what those projects are, and we worked into that way. These, since this is a fixed thing, we called it as traditional waterfall or plan driven. Since here something is changing, we called it change driven, adaptive, change driven, adaptive, and what else the name? So far, change driven, adaptive, and this is plan driven, waterfall, traditional. Okay. Now let's go to the major thing about agile. Okay. So scope can be fixed, scope can be variable. Delivery as a single go delivery, as a multiple deliveries. That was x-axis and that was y-axis for which I divided that entire life cycle in your project. Agile is more of a mindset, and the agile mindset is basically based on four values of agile. If you know those four values, please put in the chat box. Agile is based on four values of agile. The agile values are basically, we want to give value to the customer collaboration over contract negotiation. This value says that contract is important. We are not saying that contract is not important. Contracts are important, but collaborating with the customer, working with the customer is more important as compared to uh, contract. Respond to a change over following a plan. So one of the critical concept of agile is minimum viable product. We make something for the customer, we show the customer, and we want to give value in the market in the minimum possible time. So in order to make minimum viable product, so sometimes things has to be changed, so we respond to our change. Instead of following the plan, we go for the plan for whatever they are asking, right? Third value is working software over comprehensive documentation. So here, this again goes to the concept of minimum viable product. Whatever works, give it to the customer. Give it to the customer. That is most important thing. We need to provide that thing to the customer. Fourth value says that individual and interaction over processes and tool. This is all about team. This concept goes about team. You see, in agile, we say that we want T type leader. T type leader are those people, they have in-depth knowledge of one domain, in-depth knowledge of one domain, and they also have the knowledge of other areas. So this is used in order to avoid single point of failure, right? In order to avoid single point of failure, we use T-type leaders. We basically give value to the customer. We give value to the customer. We give value to the team. We select those people who are motivated, and we want to make sure they make their own decision. They make their own decision. So individual and interaction over processes and tool. These are the four values of AHL. These four values with the 12 principles. You don't need to remember 12 principles. Just understand the principle in this way that you want incremental delivery. We continuously focus on the quality. We do Pareto, which is 20-80 principle. We look at what are the most important thing, prioritize them. We use Pareto to do that. We look at, okay, this is the important thing. We worked with them, right? We continuously improve that, and we have retrospective to continuously get ourselves better. These are some of the principles. You need to remember four values. Four values is actually the only thing in agile or in the entire PMP I'll ask you to remember, that you need to know four values. Once you know the four values, 12 principle is the next step. Now, we have multiple agile methodologies: Scrum, Kanban, XP, feature driven development, Lean. Nine is 60 to 70% questions of agile is related to four values and 12 principles. 60 to 70% question. But understanding Scrum can help you if any other questions come. So Scrum is kind of a project management framework. It has three roles. Okay. Product owner, he's the voice of customer. He's that part of your team, but he's the voice of customer. Scrum master, your agile project manager, your servant leader. And then team, your T type leaders, they decide that. So what is valuable right now? Value mean what, which thing you should be working. Product owner defines that. How much time it will take to complete that thing means effort, which is also called as story point in agile. Team will tell how much story point or how much effort it will take. And Scrum Master is a grease that works in between both things. Product owner, team, if there's a conflict, he makes sure that Scrum methodologies are being properly followed. Right? Product owner, Scrum Master, team, these are the people that will be working along the entire way. So what happens? Let me tell you the entire story. Product owner, he goes to with the Scrum Master, he goes to sponsor and all the key stakeholder, customer, and collect user stories. User stories are nothing but requirements in agile. He collect requirements from them and put all the requirements in a document that is called product backlog. That document is called product backlog. Once he have collected all the requirement with the team, he goes back and asks them, can you prioritize them? The sponsor using Moscow technique. What are the most important requirement? Should, could, would likely to have, or 100 points or even Pareto, whatever you use, your choice. Just prioritize what is the most valuable requirement for you. And then team look at the same user stories and they see which are the most risky user stories. So we get user stories by high value, high risk, high value, medium risk, high value, low risk, medium value, high risk, and so on and so on. Value is the most important thing, and then we get it. So this is called your product backlog. List of all the requirement prioritized by value and risk. Value and risk. Once your product backlog is ready, the team does sprint zero. In sprint zero, sprint is basically in agile, we call it sprint as a duration. Sprint has a duration of 1 to 4 weeks. What is the duration of sprint? Put in the chat box. What is the duration of sprint? Sprint duration is 1 to 4 week. Normally it is more of a normally screen duration is my screen is not visible. Okay, on LinkedIn. Sorry for that, LinkedIn people. I'll make the screen visible now. Okay, so 1 to 4 weeks in Scrum. Okay, so we do sprint zero in Scrum, right? Sprint is 1 to 4 week duration in sprint zero. We basically do two things. One, we do architectural spike. We do architectural spike where basically we do proof of concept. Is it even possible to complete that thing or not? Is it even possible to complete that thing or not? That is architectural spike. Secondly, we'll do risk spike. We will do risk spike. Okay, a proof of concept, is it possible or not? And secondly, we do risk spike, like we'll check each user story what their risks are. So now we know that this product is possible and we have looked at that. Team will have a meeting, the first sprint planning meeting. Let's say the first sprint is there. We'll have a first sprint planning meeting. We'll decide the length of the sprint. Let's say the length of a sprint is decided 2 weeks. The entire project is divided into two weeks. And let's say you decide release consists of 4 months, 3 months, whatever you decided. So you get release and sprint there. The first meeting will be sprint planning meeting. Here, the team will look at the product backlog and they will make sprint backlog, which is of course the subset of product backlog. And we will see, depending upon how much work the team says we can do this much work, we can do this much work, the amount of work team can do in one sprint, or amount of work, the number of story points in one sprint is called velocity of the sprint. It's called velocity of the sprint. Okay, guys, whatever the questions you have, I see some questions are in the chat box. Please write down your question answers and we will do the session. All the question I will answer you later on. Okay, so we have sprint backlog, that is a prioritized work we are going to do in this part and sprint. The work we are going to do in this sprint, it's sprint backlog. We will share it to the client. We get sprint goal. Now we start working on the sprint goal. Now this is a agreed with everybody, right? Please somebody mute yourself, guys, kindly. So I'm also making you co-host. Okay. So we have a sprint goal. In sprint planning, from product backlog, we make a sprint goal. Sprint goal, we know the velocity, we made them estimated velocity, how much work we can do in one sprint. And now we start doing the work. We decided sprint is 2 weeks. We will have daily stand up. Daily stand up, we will discuss three questions. What will be the three questions? It will be 15-minute, same time, same location. Put the question in the chat box, guys. The three questions will be what you have done yesterday, what you are going to do today, is there any impediment, roadblocks, things like that. We will use information radiators. We will use information radiator to basically discuss the information in the age, right? We will discuss information radiator. Once 2 weeks are completed, once 2 weeks are completed, we will have sprint review. In sprint review, we'll show to the customer whatever we have completed. Please understand, in Agile, we'll only show what is 100% completed, nothing less. If something is 100% completed, we will show to the client. Okay. If client accept it, it goes into product increment. So this is the third document or artifact we discussed. First, we discussed product backlog, sprint backlog, now product increment. Whatever is accepted, it goes into product increment. Whatever is rejected, it goes back into product backlog. Whatever is rejected, it goes back to product backlog. Sprint review consists of two parts actually. This is the demos part. The second part is grooming. Here, since client is there, they can add more user story and we will reprioritize the product backlog. Reprioritize the product backlog for the next sprint. That is called grooming of the product backlog. Grooming of the product backlog. Once your sprint review is done, we will do sprint retrospective, which is a lesson learned meeting. Try to identify the lessons that can be used for the next step. It is 5 steps. Set the stage, gather data, generate insight, decide what to do, and close. Set the stage, gather data, generate insight, decide what to do, close the retrospective. Close the retrospective. So this is basically 5 steps that we do in the entire sprint. We'll keep doing it, right? Once the entire sprint is completed, all the sprints are completed. At the end of the sprint, you see, we have sprint 0. At the end, we will have sprint H, hardening sprint, in which we will finally check before giving the entire product to the client. We will final check and give it to the client. Hardening sprint. That's the entire scrum for you. 3 documents you must know. 5 event, sprint, 1 to 4 sprint planning, daily stand up, review, retrospective. You must know. You must know product owner, scrum master, and team. What are their roles? What are their responsibility? Product owner decides the value. Team does the work. Then next thing is basically what is velocity, what is user story, story point. When does the sprint end? When the works get completed, then the sprint is over. How do we know that something is 100% completed? Team has a checklist that is called definition of done. Team compare with that checklist and show it to the and make sure that this is completed, then they show it to the client. Client, how does the client accept it? Client have a checklist that is called acceptance criteria, and we look into that. This is entire scrum for you. We have information radiators, which I'll cover into it. So we have 4 5 information radiator which we want to work into that. We need to know for this thing. The first one is burn down chart, and I would recommend it after the class. Please make burn up, burn down chart, Kanban task board at least one time with your hand. It's important. This is burn down chart. It's an information radiator that basically measure how much work is remaining at any time. At any time, here you put days. Here it is, story points. You measure how much work is remaining. How much work is remaining? That basically is done by burn down chart. If you want to see how much work is done, we go with the burn up chart. We go with the burn up chart. Burn up chart, burn down chart. We use this burn up, burn down charts for same. Both are useful. We use both of them in our project whenever we want to work into that. Burn up chart, burn down chart. Then we have task board. Task board show you status, to do, in progress, completed. This is kind of a thing that is used all over the world. All over the world. We just want to show the status of the work. Task board. Task board. We have a special type of task board that is called Kanban board. Kanban board is particularly useful, particularly used when we want to look into that, when we want to see how, like, what is the bottleneck. Write it down for you. What is the, if we want to look what is the bottleneck in our project, we use Kanban board. What is the bottleneck in our projects? When we want to know that, we use Kanban board. Okay. So Kanban board, to do, in progress, testing, completed. So we put work in progress limit in here. How much work we can do? Okay, let's say to do, identify where do we have bottleneck here. Put in the, you can get such type of question in your exam. Where is the bottleneck? Put in the chat box. Where is the bottleneck and why? Where is the bottleneck and why? Testing has bottleneck. Testing has bottleneck because only three can be allowed and only three are here. We cannot have more work here. In progress, we can add one more. Here, we can add testing and completing. Both are bottleneck. Okay. Here is also, this is also bottleneck. 2, 3. Here, there can be something. Okay. This is also bottleneck. I put a special question. This is not the bottleneck. All three are the bottleneck. Right? Normally you will get question where one is bottleneck. Here I give you three bottleneck. One is not a bottleneck. One more time. One more question. Now I'll just put one bottleneck so that you don't get confused. Mhm. Okay. Sorry about my drawing. To do, in progress, testing completed. Here the bottom, here it is 8. Here it is 3. Here it is 2, 4. Now what, which is the bottleneck? Where is the bottleneck? Okay. Thank you very much. So this is Kanban board. Lean also uses Kanban board to define value stream map as well as lead time and cycle time. Lead time is time it was requested till time it got completed. This is called lead time. Time it was requested till the time it got completed is called lead time. Cycle time was time you started working and time it got completed. That is cycle time. Some organization measure lead time, like when you requested and when it got completed. Like Amazon. Basically, I'm reading Amazon's article nowadays. It measures lead time when a customer requested and when it got completed. McDonald's measure both lead time and cycle time, and both are important. Yes, Kanban is just in time. Yes, 100%. So this is everything you need to know about agile that can come in the PMP exam. Okay. So we have covered stakeholder communication, team, agile. This is 80% of real exam. If you understand what I just said, and if you can implement the knowledge that you have learned from here, that is more than enough for your exam. 80% of the real exam, guys. 80% of the real exam. Okay, so let's go to the next topic. Now what we will do, now we will cover scope, schedule, cost, how three baselines are made, right? How those things are done. I guess session will go up to 3 hours. Are you okay with that? No? I booked 2 hours. Uh, are you okay with that? No? Yeah, Ilshad, there will be formulas for that. Yeah, because I booked 2 hours. I'm doing this session after a long time. I used to do it every month, so I overestimated how quickly I can do, because I wanted to touch the concepts. I wanted to make sure not go too fast. I know some of you will still be thinking I'm moving very fast, but this is the entire PMP in 2 hours, guys. So it has to be somehow. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about scope, schedule, cost. Then we will go with the risk, quality, and procurement. So you see, need assessment, business document, initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, closing, and then operation. This is your project. Okay. This is operation. I will try to collect the requirement of the product. Once I have the requirements of the product, I will automatically have the requirements of the project. Okay. I will automatically have the requirements for the project. In order to collect the product requirement, I have requirement management plan. I have requirement management plan that will tell me how to collect the requirement, how to develop the requirement, things of those nature. What are the techniques that we use for stakeholders? Like we went to the sponsor, we did focus group, we did interviews, we did workshops. All those techniques that I use to identify stakeholder, all techniques will be used to identify what are the key requirements. Once you have identified all the requirement, you will put all the requirements into requirement traceability matrix. Requirement traceability matrix is a matrix that has all the requirement, who gave it, what is the purpose, the link of the requirement, things of those nature. From start till end, it will have the link of all the requirements. From start till end, it will have every single thing about the requirement. Just like requirement traceability matrix, we will also have another document, requirement documentation. Requirement documentation will basically classify the requirement, which are functional requirement, which are non-functional requirement, which are stakeholder requirement, solution requirement, and things of those nature. We will classify all the requirements in the requirement documentation. Requirement traceability has requirement traceability has every single thing of that. Okay. Requirement traceability, guys, my voice is breaking. Somebody is saying requirement traceability has everything. Requirement documentation will only have classifications of the requirements. Classification of the requirements. Is my voice clear now? Okay, 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 okay. This means it's breaking. Is my voice clear now, guys? Okay. If it break, next time do let me know. Okay. If it breaks now, do let me know. I am live on LinkedIn and all other platform. I'll just end that session and we will continue with this session only. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Didas. If it breaks, do let me know. So we collected all the requirement and put it in the requirement traceability matrix. And somebody asked, will we get the recording? Yes. And the recording, we are right now live on YouTube. That live will remain there, plus the Zoom session, because there will be no breaking on the Zoom session for sure. I will also upload the Zoom session later on for you. Okay. So we got all the requirement traceability, and requirement documentation. Now, using scope management plan, Using scope management plan, what I will do, using scope management plan, let me do one thing about breaking. I change the mic. Do let me know after 2 minutes if it's still the same. Now using scope management plan, what I will do, I will put the filter. I will put the filter here. What is in the scope and what is out of the scope. Okay. Scope management plan. I'll put what is in the scope and what is out the scope. Okay. So we get project scope statement here. Okay. So voice is still going down. Yeah. Let me then end the session on LinkedIn. Okay. Everyone who is at LinkedIn, please you can WhatsApp me and I'll share the link to you because the session is now going to end on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.